Hey guys, welcome back to Salem, Cellar. So I recently went to see the new Saw film and I want to talk to you guys all about it. I've been hearing people rave about this film, saying it's the best in the franchise. Is it really? I'll be right back.
I want to play a game.
So Saw X is the 10th installment in this franchise. It was released September 29th, 2023. Tobin Bell is back. He's reprising his role as John Kramer, Jigsaw. You have no idea the level of excitement when I saw he was back, by the way. I am just such a big fan of his. I just love the character. Shawnee Smith is back as Amanda. Love Shawnee Smith. So what this film is about: a sick and desperate John travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure in hopes of a miracle cure for his cancer, only to discover the entire operation is a scam to defraud the most vulnerable. Now, watching the trailer, you get all of that, and you just know, like, oh, these people are messing with the wrong guy. You don't play around with John Kramer. He's calculating and he is highly intelligent and he doesn't play games. So the trailer really got my attention. I am a massive fan of this Saw franchise. I've watched the entire franchise hundreds of times, and I'm not even joking, from start to finish. I was in the movie theater for the first film, and every single film after. I've watched every single film over and over, so I know these movies like the back of my hand. So the movie came out, before I saw it, everybody was raving about it. Like, this movie is amazing. It's one of the best in the franchise. I'm not really a Saw fan, and I really loved this movie. It was so good. So being a Saw fan and then hearing everybody's reviews, I went into it with very high expectations. Now, I want to say that right off the bat, like, you see John Kramer and you actually see him so much more than any other film in this franchise, which I did appreciate. You see Amanda and you really see their relationship and the bond they have, which I really liked as well. You see that a little bit in the third film, but it's kind of like so much is going on in that movie. You know they have a connection, but you don't really see it, like the soft emotional side of it. And that was nice to get. You see John Kramer, he has cancer and he just has months to live, and kind of giving up. He's in a lot of pain, he's upset. So he goes to a support group for people with cancer. They talk about their story, what they're going through, how much more time they have. And, you could tell he's just depressed. He's lost hope, which is, you have to have hope. He's kind of just given up. And one day he's like out to lunch somewhere. He's sitting down to eat and he sees one of the gentlemen from the support group. And he's up and he's moving about and he just looks like he's doing great. And John's like, what's going on? You look great. And he's like, oh, I had this experimental procedure done. Like, look at my scar and no more cancer. I'm fine. I survived. And he's like, oh, wow. And the guy's like, here, this is the information for the people that helped me. So he contacts them. Of course, he gets the procedure done. You're introduced to the people, the anesthesiologist, the girl who kind of runs the property, and just kind of the other doctors in the facility. And after the procedure is done, he wires the doctor all the money, which is $250,000. Like, it wasn't like pennies. A big chunk of change he paid for this procedure. And he actually goes back to the place one day and he wants to bring a bottle of tequila to the girl who was really kind to him and runs the facility. He gets there and it's abandoned. Nobody's there. It just looks like trash. Like he's looking through everything. And then he kind of sees a video that he saw during his surgery, because he had to be awake for it. Not fully awake, but kind of aware. So he saw this video of like this brain surgery going on. He's like, wait a second. And then he realized he's just been scammed. They played, like, how stupid do you have to be to play John Kramer? Like, you don't know he's Jigsaw at the time, but you know, you played this guy and now, okay, the game has begun. So I don't want to give too many spoilers away. Everything I pretty much said, you could see bits and pieces of it, the general synopsis of that, like in the trailer. So I want to start off in saying, like, there was a little clip before the movie came out of the eye suction trap, right? That trap didn't disappoint. It was pretty cool. I don't want to give away any of that sequence, but there was a disappointing fact, like, part of that. I mean, if you've seen the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was a little disappointed with how all of that ended, but whatever. Overall, I want to say I did enjoy this film. It was a good movie. But I do get why people who aren't really like massive Saw fans enjoyed it. It was a little watered down. It was more mainstream. Like, I know probably a higher budget and all those things, and they wanted to make a movie for probably everybody, not just people who are into like this torture, gore, you know, the insane traps. But for fans of the franchise who are just like massive fans, it kind of just felt watered down to me. It was a nice story. I really enjoyed John Kramer being there the entire time, being involved, like really involved in these traps. But there really wasn't enough traps, in my opinion. Not to sound like a real psycho, but it wasn't really enough. Like, there wasn't enough deaths, in my opinion. I wanted to see people getting ripped apart. Lots of people. I wanted to see blood. I wanted to see gore. Another issue of mine was it was a little predictable because this movie takes place, or supposed to take place, a few weeks after the first film. So it's between the first and the second film. Technically, it should be Saw 2. But so you know how it's going to play out, as far as, you know, John is going to survive this film. You know, Amanda's going to survive this film. So it gave a little predictability as far as like the third, like the I want to say, like, after the second half of the film, it was kind of predictable because I knew how it was going to end. The very, very end, I was just frustrated with. I will get into that a little bit more towards the end of this video. I don't want to give crazy spoilers right off the bat. But yeah, the ending kind of disappointed me and kind of frustrated me. So this film is rated R, shocker, for the gore, the violence, the language. And there's also a mid-credit scene. So don't leave the theaters just yet. There is one credit scene. And this is actually the first in the entire franchise where they have a credit scene. So it's pretty exciting. I think every single movie is doing it now. I literally, at the end of the movie, I Google really quick if there's a credit scene. And then I stay, obviously, if it is. Unless it's Marvel, and then I always stay. Because there's usually multiple. But yes, there is a mid-credit scene. It is really a cool one. For Saw fans, if you are a big fan of the franchise, you will be excited for it. You see a very familiar face. So don't leave the theater. Make sure you check that out. So also in this movie, there's a little goof, all right? So this movie is supposed to take place, I'm pretty sure, in 2004. Well, there's a cell phone that's used by the doctor and Amanda, and the cell phone didn't come out until, like, I'm pretty sure, like 2009. So if you watch closely and you look at the phone, I think it was like some type of a BlackBerry. But yeah, there's a little goof on there. I guess they didn't think people would really notice. People notice everything, unfortunately. Out of a 10, I would give this film an 8. I did really like it. Did I think it was the best out of the franchise? No, I did not think it was the best. Personally, my favorite is the second film. I also really love number 5 and 6. I love the stories. I love the traps. With these movies, you think they're just blood, guts, and gore. But it's really not. It's a really good story. Like, if you watch from the beginning and to the very, very end, you'll see, like, there's a story and it's building up. Like, it's just so genius, these movies, to me, because each movie is like a puzzle piece, right? So you put them all together and you have a full puzzle and you can see really what was going on. If you watch randomly like number 3 and you watch randomly number 6, you're gonna have no idea what really is going on. But if you watch every single film back to back, I know there's a lot of movies, but then you really get like the full picture of it all. And the story, there's a story. You see this man's life's work. You're introduced to people in his life. You know, every character has a backstory. Amanda, you find out her backstory with Cecil and how she was really responsible for, you know, John's baby's death. And you just find out about Hoffman more. And it's such an amazing franchise. So it's hard to say that this would be the best. Is it one of the best? I would say top 4, in my opinion. It's definitely top 4. It was a good movie. It was a good story. I loved seeing people who deserved this fate get it. You know, these weren't good people. These were horrible people. And I know he usually goes after bad people, but it was another thing seeing these people like in action being bad. Like, it was satisfying. It was the vengeance behind it, you know, seeing them get what was coming to them after they did something so horrible to him. And it wasn't just him they did it to. You see like a list of other patients and how much money they scammed them out of. Like, these people, and Amanda confirms it, that all these people that they scammed are now dead. So they took this money that could have went to their family, that could have went to their children, and they gave it because they were hoping to have more life, have more time with them, to make more money and provide. And that money went to these crooks. So yeah, it was very satisfying to see them get tortured. But the traps for me, even though they were cool, you didn't really get as much gore. There was one trap where it would have been really cool. Now, I'm going to go into spoilers now. So if you didn't see the movie and you were, you know, then you pause and come back after you see the movie. So the one trap where the guy's sitting there, he has to take a piece of his brain out and put it. Yeah. So that trap, like when it shuts on his face, I wanted to kind of have it like reopen because I wanted to see his face burnt up, like just completely like destroyed. So it kind of sucked that it wasn't really that gory, like his face gets covered and then you never see it again. That kind of sucked. Gabriella, you know, she gets burnt by the radiation. You kind of like are rooting for Gabriella because she's kind of like Amanda to us. You know, Amanda was addicted to drugs and John helped her. You know, you think he helps her, but then she goes kind of back to her own ways and becomes a killer, unfortunately. But, you know, you have hope for Gabriella. You have hope that she can be a better person and get off drugs. And then, yeah, that like evil doctor lady. Ugh. And her feet, okay, so that frustrated the hell out of me. I did like that they, you know, the little boy, they walked off into the sunset with him with a load of cash, and he gets to bring it to his family and live happily ever after just being a warrior, is what John called him. But it frustrated me that that woman got to live. She does not deserve to live. If anything, she should have had the worst trap than anybody else. And I really think that first girl, I can't remember her name, but the first one, what was her name? I can't remember. The one that she had to cut off her leg. Yeah, she had it the worst, in my opinion. That was just next level torture. Having to cut off your entire leg and then suck out whatever is in there and then still dying by your head getting chopped off. That was a sick trap. That was probably the best trap in the entire film. Okay, so you guys saw the movie because everybody who hasn't seen it left already. The eye suction trap, what the hell? Like, it was cool, but it was a dream sequence. It was like a fantasy sequence. Like, I wanted to actually see it happen. I wanted to see it come off and him have no eyeballs. Even though I don't like the eye stuff, I watched through it. I wanted to see the final product. It kind of sucked that it didn't happen. So yeah, that frustrated me. At the very end frustrated me. And I really wanted more Hoffman. You know, I really, really, really wanted more Hoffman. You know, you hear his voice, you know, throughout the film, and then you get him in the mid-credit scene. But I was frustrated that he wasn't involved more. I love him. you know, when Amanda was getting announced to like replace Jigsaw, I didn't really like it too much. Not that I didn't like Amanda's character, I just didn't like her for that role, that position. But Hoffman, ruthless. Hoffman is a beast. You know, he doesn't have morals, I guess you want to call him, like Jigsaw, like John Kramer, but he is just, he's a beast. Remember when he had that mask on his face? Yeah, when John's wife put it, yeah, and he like shoved it in the crack of the window and ripped it off his face. Then he like stitched up his face back. Like, he's no joke. So I wanted him to really take over and just be Jigsaw, but I wanted him to, like, that's besides the point. I wanted him to be in this film more. I'm happy we did get a little bit of him, but I wanted him more overall. All right, so to wrap everything up, I did enjoy this movie. It is not my favorite out of the franchise. It was a good movie. I'm not saying it wasn't a good movie, but it was just kind of, to me, again, watered down compared to the other Saw films. Will I watch it again? I will absolutely watch this film again, and I will definitely own this film. Maybe I'll like it the more I watch it, but I just wanted more gore. I wanted more like the original Saw films, and this felt very different to me. Even though Tobin was back and Amanda was back, it just was kind of like this. It just felt like they were trying to reach too many audiences. I did like the emotional part about it, but I go to a Saw film for the guts, for the gore, for the traps, and for the story, of course, but more of that. So that was a little lacking for me. If you haven't seen it, I hope you really do enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I will be right back.
Live or die. Make your choice.